There are some moments in life that stop you cold. When the world keeps spinning, but you can't remember how to breathe. That's just what happened in the latest Sister Wives episode, when Janelle sat in front of the camera and had trouble saying something no mother should ever have to say out loud. Her hands quivered, her voice shook, and it seemed for a moment like time had stopped right cold. She couldn't recall what happened next, only that she was in her car, driving. Just driving. That sort of heartbreak doesn't pose for the camera. It doesn't require music or witty cuts. It just devastates you. Hi friends, welcome back to TLC Chapter. I'm Emma, and today we're diving deep into one of the rawest, most emotional moments we've ever witnessed on this series. There's heartbreak, there's betrayal, and there's a haunting silence where unity used to be. And through it all, one woman has remained unwavering in her truth. As the rest of the Brown family struggles over loyalty, land, and legacy, Janelle is simply trying to keep herself together. If this episode affected you anywhere close to as much as it affected me, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion counts here, and believe me, we've got a lot to discuss. Ready? Let's do this. From the moment this episode opened with Janelle in the confessional chair, something felt different. Her posture was lower, like the weight she carried had finally become too heavy. And her eyes? They weren't just sad. They were dazed, like she was still processing what had happened. And then there were her words, slurred, unsteady. She told us she received the call, and then all was a haze. She couldn't remember how she even made it into her car. She only remembered her body going, but not being able to keep up. And you could sense it. It wasn't staged or scripted. It wasn't reality television. It was a bereaved mother, attempting to remain standing on broken soil. What made the moment so stomach-turning wasn't so much the tragedy itself. It was how raw it was. Janelle didn't hide behind cosmetics or memorized words. She didn't wear a face of toughness or attempt to sidestep pain. She presented herself, painfully exposed, and allowed us to see it. That amount of vulnerability? Unusual. Particularly on a program that has gone over a decade attempting to portray an image of a cohesive family. At once, Twitter exploded in waves of condolences and sympathy messages. You could sense the resonance effect of her heartbreak from comments. There were people posting about losing sons, brothers, close friends all too early. There were those simply thanking Janelle for having the guts to share her sadness. One of the posts lingered in my mind. I lost my brother when I was 14. Seeing Janelle reminded me of everything. I just wanted to hug her through the screen. That's what appearing in the midst of hurt does. It engenders true connection. Not with storylines or drama, but with unpolished human reality. No script can do that better. What's resonated with so many of the viewers is that they're now witnessing Janelle not only as a grieving mother, but as an emotional pillar of the entire series. Amidst all the years of disruption, changing allegiances, and tearing apart separations, she never asked for the limelight. She's always been the constant figure in the midst of the mayhem, silently keeping everything together while the rest of the family fell apart around her. And now, seeing her break down, people are finally realizing how much she's been carrying all along. On the flip side, Cody's response, or rather, his failure to have one, left a lot of viewers uneasy. While Janelle dissolved into raw emotion, Cody was stiff, disconnected, nearly emotionless. His grief didn't seem to arise in the same manner, and fans picked up on it. They've been saying that this isn't anything new. It's a pattern. One viewer hit the nail on the head. It's like he's grieving the part of being a dad, not the loss of his son itself. That's a hard thing to say, but it struck a chord with a lot of folks. Because this episode wasn't so much about tragedy, it was about clarity. It showed us who was really there with their pain and who wasn't. And for a lot of folks, it did what they'd always suspected. Janelle wasn't just another wife, she was the heart of their family. Then the teaser for the next episode, and it hit home. Robin emerged on screen, sobbing again, explaining how difficult this has been for her. The timing couldn't have been more wrong. Just after Janelle's soul-shattering moment of vulnerability, suddenly the attention switched to Robin's emotional state. It didn't just feel awkward, it felt profoundly tone-deaf. Fans were prompt to respond, comment sections erupted, Reddit threads went wild, Instagram stories spread. Everyone was whispering the same thing. This isn't Robin's moment, please. Not this time. Not while Janelle is still struggling by on camera. And let's be transparent. It's not that folks believe Robin shouldn't mourn. It's just that this isn't the first time the story has appeared to pivot around her suffering, even when the moment isn't hers. Fans have caught on to a persistent trend. When things get emotional, the plot leans in Robin's direction. Her tears, her anxiety, her point of view, and eventually, it ceases to be sincere and becomes manipulation. A fan summed it up nicely. Robin always cries just enough to steal the spotlight, but never enough to actually be there for the person who's hurting. And that hurts, because this moment, this tragedy, it wasn't Robin's story to guide. And it isn't just the fans who are noticing the change. Within the family, too, the dynamics are shifting. Mykelti, Christine's daughter, who used to be close to Robin, has allegedly severed all ties with her. The show hasn't explained the whole reason yet, but rumor has it that something happened during or after Garrison's funeral that crossed a major line. Whatever it was, that bond is severed. Fans who've been watching since the start are witnessing it now, in black and white. Robin used to be the newcomer, with a soft voice and teary eyes. The one who spoke of peace, unity, and love. But after more than a decade of watching her actions speak louder than her words, that once sweet image is showing cracks. And what's beneath it? It's not sitting well with a lot of people. Because this isn't just about one loss. It's about years of favoritism, years of emotional detachment, years of trust slowly unraveling. Not just between the wives, but between the show and its viewers. There's a growing feeling that Robin's tears have gone from connection to control. This episode wasn't just painful, it exposed. It pulled back the curtain on what viewers think are the real anchors in this family, and who may be quietly rewriting the script to their own advantage. And fans? They're more plugged in than ever before. It may have seemed like a neat break, but nothing at all was neat. Particularly how the sale of Coyote Pass really went down between Cody and his ex-wives. Here's what really shocked fans. Christine sold her share of the land to Cody and Robin for a mere $10. Yes, 10. It wasn't an accident, it was intentional, symbolic. Christine had already emotionally disconnected years before the documents were signed. To her, relinquishing that land wasn't a financial issue, it was freedom. She had no desire to cling to a dream that had never included her. That $10 wasn't a financial exchange. It was a pronouncement. She was releasing it for good. But circumstances couldn't have been more different for Janelle and Mary. They didn't meekly relinquish their rights. They insisted on their due. Both had invested not only money, but years of emotional effort and forbearance into that property. They camped there. They made plans. They waited out Cody's endless back and forth, his dithering, his constantly shifting vision. And when it was time to sell, they weren't going to leave empty-handed. They fought. And they received what was theirs. For Janelle and Mary, taking their share wasn't about money. It was about affirmation. It was about asserting themselves after years of being pushed aside and overlooked. These women were continually instructed to wait, to trust, to have faith in Cody's leadership. And they did, until the promises dried up and the silence was more than they could bear. This real estate dispute turned into something much larger than a real estate transaction. It turned into tangible evidence of all that has gone wrong in this family. What had once represented unification now indicates the last irrefutable breakdown. Coyote Pass wasn't merely acreage. It was going to be where? The new beginning after Las Vegas, the site of healing, the future. And instead, it ended up being a graveyard for shattered visions. And now that it's on the market, the charade is officially done. No more denial, no more sidestepping. Just reality and repercussions. Janelle and Mary didn't fight for what they did as merely money. They fought for respect. They fought for validation of the years they remained loyal to a system that all too often viewed them as second best. And this time, they didn't back down. Meanwhile, 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 while the family mourns, fights for justice, and struggles to comprehend the wreckage, Cody Brown is again MIA. In a recent instance that left most of us jaw-dropping stunned, Cody announced that his priority now is to be Robin's committed husband. On the surface, perhaps it may sound like loyalty, but in context, it sounds more like withdrawal. Not into love, into control. And to loyal viewers, this is no surprise. These past few seasons, Cody's emotional pulling away has progressed from disappointing to flat-out frigid. When it began to fall apart with Christine, Janelle, and Mary, he didn't move in. He didn't struggle for the relationships. He pulled away. He blamed them. He shifted the story. Now, with so much tragedy clouding around the family, particularly Garrison's heartbreaking loss, Cody's response hasn't simply seemed distant, it's felt empty. In those cringeworthy moments, his emotional presence was hardly there. You could see it in the stillness, in the awkward poses, in how he struggled to reassure Janelle, or even meet her eye with genuine comprehension. That wasn't merely a missed moment, it's a pattern. And many fans think it runs deeper than emotional immaturity. There's a long-standing theory among fans that Cody never employed religion for its own sake, for bond. It's an instrument of control. That the spiritual basis of this family was more for domination. Plural wives, plural homes, all supporting a fabricated photo op of family perfection. But that fantasy, that's shattered now. And rather than introspecting, owning up, or showing actual sorrow, Cody appears more committed than ever to holding on to what's left. Robin, the sole woman remaining by his side. It's as if he's rewriting his character mid-season, attempting to be the devoted husband, the man who only ever desired one solid marriage. But that's not the man his ex-wives recall. And it's definitely not the man audiences are seeing week in and week out. Instead of dealing with the burden of the hurt he's inflicted, instead of being present for the children and women who supported him, Cody flees. He dodges tough talk. He covers up feeling with rage. He channels sorrow through blame. And that's precisely when viewers' sadness begins to shift to anger. This wasn't merely about the breakdown of marriages. It was about the total lack of accountability. Audience members had hoped that Cody would stand up in the midst of a tragedy. They'd hoped that he'd take responsibility for what he'd done for once. But instead, he backed away, creating a wall around himself and labeling it as being loyal to Robin. But to many viewers, it wasn't loyalty. It was more of an escape. As if this season weren't already emotionally charged enough, with the family disintegrating and sorrow weighing in the air, Cody was able to toss in yet another strange twist of the knife. Out of the blue, he boldly asserted that one of the reasons he fell for Robin was that she used to be a model. And not just any model. Cody insists she modeled for Diesel jeans. Yes, Diesel, the international denim giant. When he uttered those words, you could almost hear the simultaneous raised eyebrow of every person watching. It wasn't the randomness of the comment, it was the tone in which he made it. Like Robin's alleged career in modeling was some sort of golden ticket. Like her history in fashion explained everything about their relationship. But here is where things get interesting. Janelle, not being rude or excessive, playfully calls out Cody on this assertion. She nonchalantly informs them that Cody had previously informed them all that Robin had posed for Diesel jeans. The tone of her voice and the expression on her face were quite telling. It was as if she were reminding us all, in a gentle reminder manner, that occasionally Cody has a tendency to confuse fantasy with reality. Of course, fans sprang into action. They dug deep, researching on IMDb, searching old model archives, searching fashion blogs for any glimmer of evidence that supported Cody's assertion. And what did they discover? Nothing. No Diesel ads, no catwalk photos, no editorial spreads. True, Robin does have a few bit parts as an actor, appearing in small roles on Just Shoot Me and CMT Countdown show, but there is absolutely no evidence whatsoever that she ever worked as a model for an international fashion label. So, what does this indicate? How much of Cody's affection for Robin is reality, and how much is merely his idealization of what he wishes she were? Repeatedly, he idealizes Robin as this fantasy woman, this woman who was desired by other males, the woman who in some way rescued him. But this entire modeling argument only heightens the sense that Cody's constructed an idealized version of Robin in his head, put her on a pedestal far beyond who she is. And by doing so, he's totally ignored the women who've supported him for years. This weird modeling myth is not only some bizarre aside, and it's quite revealing of who Cody is. He rewrites history according to the greatest narrative that benefits him. And as this season goes on, one thing gets painfully obvious. Grief doesn't lie. It pierces right through all performances, the artifice, and the fabricated storylines. What we witnessed from Janelle was not another television moment. It was a raw, unedited glimpse of a mother's devastation. It was incredibly courageous of her to allow the cameras to witness one of the darkest episodes of her life. Her integrity was a breath of fresh air amidst the din around her. With property conflicts, bizarre talk of modeling careers, and never-ending Robin hubbub, Janelle remained firm. She didn't attempt to claim center stage. She just stood firm, quietly unshakable. That unshakable reality and determination are what we truly connected with fans this season. The Brown family is shifting. Alliances are breaking down. Individuals are finally putting themselves first after all these years of being silenced or ignored. And that's not merely drama, that's growth. It's dirty, painful, and emotional. But it's real. And that's the reason why we keep watching. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Were you as impressed by Janelle's strength as I was? Do you think Cody will ever understand what he lost? What do you think of Robin's role in all this? Thank you so much for joining me today. Meet Mia, and you're watching TLC's next chapter. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to get more authentic explanations of what makes the moments count. Catch you in the next one.